In the shadow of the Great Pyramids, darkness was rising. The Hyksos, a foreign people from the north, had infiltrated and seized the Egyptian delta. They pillaged the temples, burned the cities, and held the ancient land hostage. But as the flames of hatred grew, so did the hope for liberation. Deep in the sacred city of Thebes, under the watchful gaze of Ra, a beacon was born. His name, Ahmose, meaning the moon is born, and it was prophesied that he would lead Egypt to victory against the Hyksos. But could this young prince fulfill the prophecy? What trials awaited him, and how would he shape the destiny of his people? Join us today as we unravel the heroic journey of a warrior king whose courage ignited the flames of freedom in the hearts of a nation. Egypt was falling. The Hyksos, foreign rulers from the north, had taken control of the delta. Temples burned, and the ancient land cried out for a savior. 2. The birth of a warrior king. In the sacred city of Thebes, a child was born into royalty. His name was Ahmose, the moon is born. But his childhood was shadowed by blood. His father, Sekenenre, was killed in battle. His brother, Ahmose, fell soon after. Baby Ahmose in the arms of Queen Ahotep, royal family portraits, scenes of Sekenenre's mummy with wounds. 3. Rise of a young leader. Ahmose, still a teenager, rose as Pharaoh. Trained in warfare and driven by vengeance, he vowed to finish what his father and brother had started, to drive the Hyksos out of Egypt. 4. The Siege of Avaris. Narration. Ahmose led his army north to the Hyksos capital, Avaris. For years, he laid siege to the city. With cunning strategy and unmatched willpower, he broke their walls and crushed their forces. 5. Victory and liberation. The Hyksos were defeated. For the first time in over a century, Egypt was free. Ahmose did not stop at victory. He pursued the enemy deep into the Levant, ensuring they would never return. 6. Rebuilding an empire. Back in Thebes, Ahmose began the greatest project of all, rebuilding Egypt. 7. Legacy of a savior. Ahmose ruled for over 2 decades. His victories marked the end of the Second Intermediate Period and the birth of a new era, the glorious new kingdom of Egypt. He was more than a warrior. He was a unifier, a builder, a legend. 8. Outro and call to action. Without Ahmose, there may never have been a Ramses, a Hatshepsut, or a Tutankhamun. He was the pharaoh who saved a civilization. Like, comment, and subscribe for more epic animated stories from Chronoverse. As the sun set over the horizon, casting long shadows across the Nile Delta, the weight of a nation's fate rested on the shoulders of a young man named Ahmose. His destiny was clear. He must drive the Hyksos invaders from his homeland and restore order to the once great Egyptian empire. But the road ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty. The Egyptians had been weakened by years of strife, and their enemies were formidable. Could a mere boy, no matter how determined, really hope to save them? Yet something in Ahmose's eyes, a burning determination, betrayed his inner strength. He was not just a prince. He was the embodiment of his people's hopes and dreams, their last best chance for freedom. As he looked out over his assembled troops, their faces a mix of apprehension and admiration, he knew he couldn't let them down. With a deep breath, he addressed his warriors, his voice echoing with conviction. "My brothers," he began, "for too long we have lived under the yoke of oppression, watching our temples desecrated and our people enslaved. But today, we stand at a crossroads. We must either submit to the tyranny of the Hyksos, or we fight back and win our freedom." A murmur rippled through the ranks as the soldiers digested his words. This was not just a battle. It was a war for their very souls. Ahmose continued, his gaze unwavering. "The task before us is daunting, but I know in my heart we are on the side of justice. With Ra himself upon our banners, how can we possibly fail?" His words struck a chord, igniting a spark of defiance in each soldier's heart. They roared their approval, their voices rising in a thunderous chant. "Freedom! Victory! Freedom! Victory!" As the cheers subsided, Ahmose raised a hand for silence. "We will march on Avaris," he declared, his eyes flashing with determination. "And we will not rest until we have driven the Hyksos from our land. Are you with me?" The response was immediate and overwhelming. "Are you with me?" "With you, O Pharaoh!" The air crackled with anticipation as the soldiers prepared for battle. The moment had come for them to prove their mettle and claim their destiny. The sun beat down on the desert sands as Ahmose's army made their way north towards the Hyksos capital of Avaris. The journey was long and arduous, but the Egyptian soldiers pressed on, fueled by their pharaoh's inspiring leadership and the promise of freedom. Upon reaching Avaris, they set up camp, readying themselves for the siege that lay ahead. The city's towering walls loomed before them, a stark reminder of the challenge they faced. But Ahmose was undeterred. With a strategic mind honed through years of planning, he devised a series of maneuvers to weaken the Hyksos defenses. His engineers constructed siege towers, allowing Egyptian soldiers to scale the city walls. Meanwhile, others devised ingenious ways to divert the flow of water, cutting off the city's supply of fresh produce and forcing its inhabitants to rely on dwindling food reserves. The siege dragged on, testing both the Egyptians and the Hyksos. Each side suffered losses, and morale ebbed and flowed with the tides of war. But through it all, Ahmose remained steadfast. He understood that the outcome of the conflict would determine not only the fate of Egypt, but also the future of his people. Day and night, he strategized with his advisors, always seeking ways to outmaneuver the enemy and bring about victory. As the weeks turned into months, the Egyptians' patience began to wear thin. Some questioned the wisdom of the prolonged siege, wondering if a different approach might yield faster results. However, Ahmose remained resolute, convinced that his strategy was sound. He knew that a swift but inconclusive victory would only allow the Hyksos to regroup and launch a counterattack. His goal was to achieve a decisive victory that would ensure lasting peace for Egypt. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. After a grueling siege that tested the limits of endurance, Ahmose's forces breached the city walls and stormed Avaris. The Egyptian soldiers fought with valor, their determination evident in every strike of their weapons. The Hyksos, though valiant in their defense, were ultimately overwhelmed by the sheer force and strategic brilliance of their opponents. As the battle raged, Ahmose led from the front, his courage inspiring those around him. He fought not only for the freedom of his people, but also for the restoration of Egypt's former glory. As the last of the Hyksos soldiers fell, a wave of elation swept through the Egyptian ranks. Cheers echoed through the streets of Avaris, a testament to the joy and relief that filled their hearts. The long nightmare of foreign domination was finally over. Egypt was free once more. But Ahmose's victories went beyond the battlefield. He pursued the fleeing Hyksos deep into the Levant, crushing any remaining resistance and securing the borders of his newly liberated kingdom. His strategic genius and unwavering determination had paid off. Egypt was on the path to recovery, and the new kingdom was born. Back in Thebes, amidst the ruins of what was once a prosperous city, Ahmose's spirit of renewal took root. He embarked on a massive project to rebuild not only the physical structures, but also the social and economic fabric of his nation. Temples were restored, cities were rebuilt, and the economy was revitalized. Under his visionary leadership, Egypt flourished like never before. During his two-decade reign, Ahmose's influence extended beyond the borders of Egypt. He forged alliances with neighboring kingdoms, establishing a network of trade and diplomacy that brought prosperity to his people. His court became a hub of intellectual and artistic activity, attracting scholars and artisans, from across the known world. As the years passed, Ahmose's legend grew, his name whispered with reverence and awe by all who heard it. He was more than just a warrior king. He was a symbol of hope, a beacon of freedom, and the architect of a new era for Egypt. When Ahmose finally passed away, his legacy lived on, shaping the course of Egyptian history for generations to come. The tales of his bravery, wisdom, and compassion echoed through the ages, reminding all who heard them of the extraordinary Pharaoh who had saved Egypt and ushered in an age of prosperity and peace. So ends the tale of Ahmose the Great, a warrior king who dared to dream of a better future for his people and had the courage, determination, and wisdom to make that dream a reality. His story serves as a timeless reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and freedom can prevail. And now I want to hear from you. What did you think of this episode? What did you find most interesting about the story of Ahmose the Conqueror? Let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to like and subscribe for more exciting episodes of our animated history series. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.